Hey, Lambs. I just wanted to come on here and give a real quick update on the Brendan Banfield case. I just saw something online and I had to pick up my microphone. If you haven't listened to the full episode yet, go back and listen to that first and also listen to the last update because I already broke all this down, the case, the affair, the au pair, the FetLife setup, the murders of Christine Banfield and Joseph Ryan, and the trial. So you can look in the links below. I have all that there if you want to listen to it. This update is just about what Brendan is trying to do now before sentencing. So, Brendan Banfield was convicted after a 3-week trial in January. A jury found him guilty of murdering his wife Christine and Joseph Ryan, the man who was lured to the Banfield home through FetLife after Brendan and Juliana posed as Christine and set up this whole violent fantasy situation. He was convicted of 2 counts of aggravated murder, plus use of a firearm in the commission of a murder, and child endangerment. And in Virginia, aggravated murder carries a mandatory life sentence. So, sentencing is basically staring him in the face. And now, because apparently the Audacity factory is still open and working overtime, Brendan wants the guilty verdict set aside. The cajones. The cajones. His defense attorney, John Carroll, filed a motion about a week and a half before sentencing, arguing that prosecutors made 3 errors during trial and that because of those alleged errors, the conviction should be completely overturned. Not that the trial should, be restarted or anything like that. Let's overturn the conviction. The first argument is that prosecutors used Brendan's silence during the investigation as evidence of guilt. Brendan did not give investigators the story he later told on the stand, so I wanted to note that there. So he told initially investigators one story, and then on the stand he told another story. The first time he gave this new version of events was during the trial. And his attorney is arguing that bringing up his silence violated his 5th and 14th Amendment rights. Deputy Commonwealth's attorney Jenna Sands responded by saying, yes, she did ask why Brendan didn't give that account before, but she said none of her questions violated his constitutional rights. Now listen. I understand legal arguments are legal arguments and defense attorney are going to defense attorney. That's their job. But the idea that Brendan sat through the entire investigation, didn't tell that version, then got on the stand and suddenly had a whole story ready to go, and now he wants everyone to act like no one should notice the timing of that? Sir, be so serious right now. The second issue is that a last-minute witness named Thomas Patrick Smith came forward, and the defense says that Thomas was a surprise witness called during the prosecution's rebuttal, and they claim that this violated the rule excluding witnesses because witnesses are not supposed to watch trial coverage before testifying. Attorney Carroll claims that Thomas said he learned about Brendan's testimony while watching the trial on television. Prosecutors push back on that too, saying recordings of Thomas's testimonies do not show him ever saying that. So, now part of the argument is basically, this witness might have watched the trial coverage, and the state is saying, where? Show us where he said that. Again, this is why court cases turn into side quests. Oh my God. We started with 2 murders, an affair, and a setup through a fetish website. And now we're arguing over whether a witness watched TV. I mean, what the frick? What is... so much to say. Then the third argument is about Juliana. She took a plea deal and testified against Brendan, and during her testimony, she answered a lot of questions by saying, oh. At one point, she told Attorney Carroll, look, if you keep asking me these questions, I'm just going to answer, I don't know. And now Attorney Carroll is arguing that because prosecutors spent more than a year interviewing her, they should have known that she was given false testimony by saying she didn't know something. And again, I get the legal point that he's trying to make, but this is also Juliana we're talking about. She was involved, she pleaded, she testified, and she gave the state what she gave them. Was she frustrated on the stand? Yeah. But Brendan trying to use her I don't know answers as a reason to toss out the whole guilty verdict is freaking wild. Despite this distraction, because let's call it what it is, we won't forget what this verdict was about in the first place. A jury sat through 3 weeks of testimony and evidence and still found Brendan guilty. Keep in mind that they heard the arguments, they heard Juliana's testimony, they heard Brendan's arguments, they listened to the defense, and they still came back guilty. And now, conveniently, right before sentencing, Brendan is basically saying, actually, can we just undo all of that? Yes? No? Maybe? Personally, I say no! This isn't Burger King. You can't have it your way. Now, sentencing was set for today, Friday, and because aggravated murder in Virginia carries a mandatory life sentence, unless the judge does something major with this motion, Brandon is looking at spending the rest of his life in prison. But as of check-in before this recording, it's been confirmed that the sentencing has been postponed due to this request. So, in the meantime, we're just waiting to see what the judge decides. And I want to say that everything said here is alleged, and it's just my thoughts and opinions. What are your thoughts on this? You heard my thoughts and opinions. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Let me know in the comments below. And like I said, if you know nothing about this case or you don't remember everything about this case, don't hesitate to go back and listen to the previous episodes. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to follow me for more true crime news, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.